Okay. Woohoo, everybody. I think we got it fixed. And we'll be going live here. We'll be doing our class night in about 4 more minutes. Woohoo. Okay. There. And we'll get started here shortly, everybody. Let's see here. All righty. Hello, everybody. Hi, Alexis. Hi, Foot Frenzied. Tonight, Foot, I am going to be on the Solaris, on the Baby Lock Solaris tonight. And we'll get started here in about 3 more minutes. 3 more minutes. Let's see here. All righty. Yes, I went off and on a couple of times. I'm on a laptop tonight and just trying to get it all worked out. Hi, Allison. Yes, technology is working tonight. Woohoo. After my previous 2 attempts as I was going live tonight is because I'm using a laptop I've never used to stream off of before. And yeah, so that's why I came off and on a couple of times before right now. Oh, wonderful, Foot. The Accomplish is a great machine. I have one myself. It's a great, great machine. It is a workhorse machine. You would not regret getting the Baby Lock Accomplish. Let's see here. We'll be live. We'll be starting in about 2 more minutes. Woohoo. So tonight, here's a little preview. This is a Cafe jelly roll, and I'm going to make a quilt top out of it tonight. Once we get started at the official start time, I will make some announcements, and then we'll get started and have some sewing fun. I'm not in my regular studio tonight. I am actually in, excuse me, I'm actually in the new classroom here in the studio. And I'll pan the camera after we get started so everyone can have a quick look at it. But yeah, so wonderful, wonderful. Been a long road. It does look like tech issues have been resolved. I've been doing a lot of testing and all that fun stuff. And absolute sewing and trifocals. I hear you. That's a wonderful screen name. But hey, it's 6 o'clock. Welcome to Feature Friday. And I'm just calling last week, and there was no live. I just needed some time off to recoup myself and get some things straightened out and all that fun stuff. But now we're back and we're going to have some fun. Okay. Oh, Foot, that's because the Solaris is the closest one to the computer tonight. That's why. So, and when it comes to sewing strips together, it does not matter what machine you are on. It's all just a straight stitch doing a 1/4 inch seam, and you can do that on any machine as far as that goes. It's all the same technique. This is tonight is more about a chit chat and just having a nice chat and talk, and I'll answer questions, throw any questions at me that you want. And don't know that I'll get this top done tonight, but we'll see. And yeah, so here I have my strips, and I'm just going to take them off in the order that they are on this, and I'm going to sew them all together. So this is basically what is called a 1600 quilt or a jelly roll quilt top. And I'm going to keep a close eye on my chat window over here. I only have one camera for tonight. Hi, Christina. Oh, thank you, Foot. Okay, so to start off with, I'm going to cut one of these jelly roll strips in half. And like I said earlier, this is a CAFE facet jelly roll. I'm just going to cut it in half. I'm using CAFE fabric and Tula Pink scissors. How about that? Hi, Vanessa. Ooh, and I'm going to put one of these half strips to the side. And then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to start sewing all these strips together. Now I'm going to move this camera so you can see the machine. You can see what I'm doing. Here we go. Going to move it around. Before I get started sewing, everybody, hello there. I'm gonna pan the camera around and let you see my new classroom. It's still a work in progress, but here we go. Check it out. This is the inside of our shop. Over there on the table is what I've been working on. Those are Mariner's compasses, everybody. Look at those. Woohoo. Still got quite a few more of those to go. But yeah, there's our classroom. Just give it a little pan. There we go. So let's get this back to where we can see the machine. Oh, thank you, Christina. It has been a work in progress, let me tell you. There we go. Okay. Oh, the seam guide on the accomplished foot is awesome. It's very adjustable. And whenever I use the accomplished, I always leave it attached because I like using the seam guide. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take one of these strips at a time, and I'm going to sew them all together end by end to end until I have one long strip. So I think there's 42 strips of fabric here. I'm going to sew them all together. So I've got my stitch length set at 2 millimeters. There we go. Okay. And now I'm just going to start, and I'm going to chain piece it. So I'm not going to cut it at the end of each seam. I will sew a strip on, and then I'm just going to keep feed them through. Where I have many of these have 2 strips exactly alike, the same fabric. I'm going to sew those together. Oh yes, I do have an AccuQuilt foot frenzy. Yes, I do have AccuQuilt. You know, before I worked with Baby Lock, I was actually an AccuQuilt national educator. I traveled all over the U.S. and Canada for AccuQuilt. And then when I left there, I came to Baby Lock. It's always an adventure in the quilting world. Hi, Sarah. Oh, you're commenting now, Sarah. I see your things. You're just fine. Oh, you're welcome, Foot. You'll love it. And say on, let's see, Monday, I will be live for Sewing Parts Online, and I will be demoing the Accomplish on Monday. You can just check it out on YouTube. I know they'll be running specials on it and all that fun stuff. So, something for you to think about. As you can see, I have the extension table on this machine. I have it, whatever machines I have, I always have an extension table that fits them. I do not have a cabinet that my machine fits down into, and I think it's very important to always have your machine on an extension table. It just makes it easy. If you're going to sew, you don't need it for embroidery, but for sewing, yeah, you need that big flat surface. It just makes everything come out so much easier. Yes, Foot, I do have the straight stitch plate, needle plate in tonight. Absolutely, I do. Yes, and it is a great machine. Oh, wonderful, Sarah. Congratulations. I was supposed to have been on SMP's Hoop Fest last month, but due to technical difficulties, I was not able to do that, unfortunately. So as you can see what I'm doing, I'm sewing this entire stack of strips right here together, end to end, right as they come off of the stack. I'm not pre-planning it or anything like that. The way they come off is the way they get sewn together. There's a lot of pretty fabrics in these rolls. Of course, it's hard to go wrong whenever you have a cave roll because the fabrics are so bold and beautiful. Hi, Coralie. Hi, Cora. Tonight, Coralie, we are on the Solaris. I am doing a jelly roll quilt using my Solaris tonight. Let's see here. So, everybody, if you have been following the Just Flowers series, I am editing videos. Those will be released over the next week. Next Friday night, we are going to sew all of the blocks together for our Just Flowers project. I will be releasing the recorded videos for blocks 11, 12, 13, and 14 between now and next Friday night. And then we will use next Friday night to sew the quilt top together, and we'll have that one done. It takes a couple of hours to stitch out each block of those remaining blocks, and that was just too much time to stream. So that's why have recorded them, and I'm editing the videos I'm actually going to edit the videos for all of that series and re-release them here on YouTube. And that way they won't be 2 and 3 hour videos to watch. It'll be much more concise. Oops. Yes, the accomplished does come with a 1/4 inch piecing foot. Comes with several feet actually, including a walking foot made just for the accomplished. Let's see here. There we go. Do, 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 do. Yes, so what I'm doing, this used to be called the Jelly Roll Race, but it is actually called the 1600 quilt because when you take a jelly roll of fabric and sew all of those strips together, you end up with 1,600 inch long strip. Okay. So yeah, it used to be called, you are correct, it used to be called the Jelly Roll Race years ago, many years ago, as a matter of fact. I found an extra one of these strips, so I'm going to splice it in before I go any further. In case you're wondering what I'm doing. Okay. Now then, cut that. I'm going to splice my strip in right here. do, 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 do. There for a while, the air has cleared up, but we had some severe smoke and haze from those wildfires up in Canada. Oh, I think it cleared out about a week ago, but it was pretty rough. It was pretty rough. Okay, that's all spliced in. Now we can get back to where we were. No, Margaret, you only cut the very first strip in half. Everything else is full length, end to end to end. This will make an approximately a 54 by 64 inch throw quilt for a lap quilt. One jelly roll will make a quilt. I make a lot of these type of quilts. It's usually one if I wasn't doing it on camera and chit-chatting, I could do one of these in about 2.5 hours of sewing. This is also a really great quilt to do on a serger. I love making these on a serger. But once we get there, then I'm going to show you on camera the next step. Then you take the two ends and you repeat the process. So I'll just have to show you. So once this is all one long strip, we'll take each end of the long strip and bring them together and sew it together along the entire length of that, and that reduces it in half the length. And you keep repeating that process. Right now, when we get done with this step, there'll be one long strip. When we sew the next step, it'll be two strips sewn side by side together, the entire length. And then we'll we'll repeat that process. And then we'll have four strips sewn together down the entire length, and so forth and so on until we get 32 strips sewn together, and that's where we stop at, and then it is complete. And I know that kind of rambled a little bit, so just wait to the next step, because once you start the next step, it's the same process to finish the quilt. I do have some other videos on here of doing this type of a quilt. Just on my channel, if you just put in Jelly Roll Quilt, it'll pull up that video. It'll pull it right up. Oh, wonderful, Coralie. But these are really fun and fast to make. And they quilt up really fast too. You could quilt this if you don't have a dedicated quilting machine. You could use a walking foot and quilt this entire quilt top in just a couple of hours. Super fast and easy to do. Hand cramps. And here's the thing about using one jelly roll to make a quilt top. All the colors, like whether it's Cape or Tula or whatever, all the colors in that jelly roll are going to work perfectly together color-wise, and it'll make a really beautiful quilt top. There's so many things you can do with a jelly roll. You can you can strip piece and do 9 patches. So many different things. You can add 3 yards of fabric to it and make a beautiful, you can make a beautiful Irish chain, a scrappy looking Irish chain. So much you can do with that. Okay. It is supposed to start raining here tonight and rain all day tomorrow. It is that time. We need the rain. We are under drought conditions here where I live. Not gonna. It's been so dry. The garden is just not going to produce hardly anything this year. Well, I tell you what, Foot. Once you sew, make one of these quilt tops, you'll be an expert at long 1/4 inch seams because that's what this is all about. And the Accomplish is perfect for doing that. It's also a great machine if you like making any type of bags or things where a lot of thicknesses go through. That machine is a workhorse for making bags and heavyweight materials. It really sews through leather really well. It's just a great workhorse of a machine, especially if all you need is a straight stitch. And for a lot of sewing, whether it's bags or quilts or whatever, 90% of it is straight stitches. Okay, so that was my last strip. I'm going to back this camera up a bit here. Hold on. There we go. There we go. And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to just bring this towards me. Let me just cut my thread there. Okay. So now, as I cut these strips apart, see how I chain pieced all that? As I cut them apart, I'm going to take the end and let it come in a pile on the floor to my right side, right over here. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to keep this end up here because I need that end to start my next round with. Let's put this box of bobbins on there to hold it in place. And I'm just going to be nice and neat and just let it all come down here beside me. Do. As I cut one, I'm just going to drop it to the floor beside me. Okay. Now, believe it or not, right now, when I get the next step done, it's halfway pieced. The first two steps take the longest. However, when you do the math on it, it actually comes out that once you finish step 2, you're over halfway done piecing your quilt top. Well, Donna, Henry, our town is right on the Illinois River, and we get weird weather compared to other, just from 50 miles, no more than 30 or 40 miles away. We get some weird weather, not only in the summertime, but in the winter as well. It'll snow here when it's not snowing anywhere else. I call it river effect snow during the wintertime. Sounds weird, but it's true. Okay. Oh my goodness. Do, do, do. And this is why everyone it is called the 1600 quilt. When all these strips are sewn together end to end to end, you have 1,600-inch strip long of fabric. So when we do this next step, that will shorten it in half, and our piece will only be 800 inches. Then when we do step 3, that'll bring it down the length of our piecing to 400 inches. So you can see how that works. Then the next step would be 200. The next step would be 100, and then there'll be one more step after that. Blah, blah, blah. But we're going to get it done. I have the energy to get it done tonight. It'll just take a couple of hours. But we're going to get it done. Okay, here we go. There we go. Okay. Now there's my other end. Okay. So notice there's the half, there's a seam right here. And there's the end of that. That's the half strip. And the reason you cut your very first strip in half, that way, when you attach it to this, here's my two ends of my 1600 strip. What happens is the seam lines up to the center of the last strip I sewed on. That offsetting it prevents these seams from lining up. So you have no seams to line up. Now there's my two ends. Now I'm going to sew it together again all the way down that long, long side. And we're going to get it done. This is my longest seam right here for the entire quilt. I have that stitch length set on 2 millimeters. I'm actually going to bump that up to 3. I'm just going to take my time and straighten it up as I go. And this is why I like doing these on a serger. A serger will do this at twice the speed. Plus, when you piece on a serger, I do a lot of piecing on my serger. When you piece on a serger, you have no bobbins to run. Because one of those cones of thread that are on a serger is your bobbin. And whether it's a 1/4 inch seam, if it's a little more narrow than a 1/4 inch or a little wider than a 1/4 inch, for this type of quilt, it's okay. You just want to be consistent throughout all your piecing. So whatever size seam you use that throughout, consistent, and you'll get really great results. And when we get to the end of this, it'll actually have there'll be a loop formed. It'll kind of look like this right here. And I'll show you a little trick. Let me get caught up on my chat window here. I'm gonna have me a sip of my coffee. Okay. No foot, I do not iron in between. Iron it at the end. Okay. I do not iron between the rows. I just keep on sewing till the whole thing is done, and then I press it. Hi, Carol. I can't wait. I can't wait for Punta Gorda in October, also down there in Florida. I'm looking forward to seeing you. We'll all get to have dinner together and everything. It'll be a lot of fun. Hi, Jacqueline. Oh my gosh, Jacqueline. We put up a small pool in the backyard just to cool off in. It's been hot as well here, too. Sarah, I know. Lucky you. We have not been. The rain just last week and then tomorrow literally is the first rain we've had in over a month here. It has been dry as a bone. Okay. So let me get another sip of my coffee. I'm using my little quilter's coffee mug tonight. It says Quilt Happy on it. We're going to keep on seaming. Just a stitch and away. Do. Wow, Donna, our grass is parts of our yard have just dried, and we have big brown patches out on the lawn ourselves here. It has been dry, dry, dry. Yeah, Vanessa, last week we had maybe it rained off and on for 3 days. And it's supposed to start tonight, and then tomorrow is 80%. Then after that system comes through, it's supposed to turn off hot again. Alrighty. And let's see here. Where are we at? Oh, I can start to see the end of the pile beside me. And just remember, this is the longest seam you have to sew. Each successive round after this, it reduces the length by 50% each time. So that's always something nice to know when you're making one of these. Each step you get done, the faster the next one goes. Get some more up here in my lap. There we go. Puffin is over here in his little bed next to me, just snoring for all it's worth. He is still recovering from all the fireworks. Okay. Keeping on, keeping on. Donna, I'm right there with you. I love to sew. I'm going to get that twisting, some of the twist out of it. If I get to the very end and it's got a big old twist, yeah, that's nothing you ever need to worry about because it's super easy to fix. Just cut it. We're getting close to the end. I like that fabric there. Isn't that pretty? It's a pretty fabric. You know, on a quilt top like this is something that is relaxing to do because it's not an intricate piece. You're basically just sewing really long, straight seams together. It's a great way just to become one with your machine and to relax and just enjoy the process. Okay. There we go. I love pre-cut fabrics. I mean, give me a nice jelly roll or some layer cakes, and I'll make a cool quilt out of it. We're getting there. We're almost to the end. This is the longest seam of the entire quilt right here. Just keep straightening up those edges as you go. Easy peasy. Looky there. There's the end of it. Woohoo! Now we'll see how bad the twist is when we get to the end here. It's got quite a bit of twist in it, imagine that. But it's okay. It's all good. Now then, let me see here. So it's got a good twist in it. So what I'm going to do, have my needle down, and all I'm going to do, here's the end of that loop. Check it out. This is how you fix it. Put it right at the end of that loop and cut it. Now I have two pieces. Now it will untwist super easy. There we go. Now I'll finish sewing it, and when I get to the end, I'm going to cut that end off so it's nice and square. So there's my end. There's where I'd cut the twist. See that? So now all I'm going to do, I'm going to just trim it right here. You can use a rotary cutter and a mat, or you can just do this and give it a nice square cut and eyeball it. There it is. So here is my next starting point right here where I just trimmed it. Well, you're welcome, Donna. Oh, wonderful, Sarah. Okay, so there's that. Now I'm going to lay this right up under my presser foot. I'm going to lower the presser foot, and that'll just hold it in place. And now I'm going to bring my strip just like before. So it's coming from back here, from in behind my machine. I'm just going to bring it and put it right on the floor next to me like I did on the previous round. I'm just going to bring it in a nice neat little pile over here till I get to the other end. So every time what you're going to do when you finish a round, you're going to bring the two ends together and do that long seam again. So this next seam will be half as long as the one that we just did. is the other end. I'm just going to open it up. You'll line these two up nice and neat. Another beautiful thing about this type of a little quilt top, there are no seams to line up. There are no seams that intersect each other, so you don't have to match a seam. There we go. And just as before, we're just going to sew those two together all the way down to the other end. We are literally right now 50% done sewing this all together. Once you get past this step, it's not as hard to line the raw edges up because you're having to fold those two strips apart. It just, the next steps after this one that we're currently doing is just easier. It's easier to line up the raw edges, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And if you wanted to, you could press each step of the way. That would be entirely up to you. I don't really feel there's a need to, simply because you got to give it a good press at the end anyway. If you're making one of these, it's your quilt top. You can do it however you want to, whatever makes you happy. And that's what sewing is supposed to be. It's supposed to be fun and make you happy, right? I'll move this camera up to a little bit different viewpoint. There we go. There we go. Of course, anytime you're sewing, you're just guiding the fabric to the presser foot, not pushing the fabric through or pulling it through. Let the machine do all the work. We're just guiding the fabric up to that presser foot. It was good to see you too, Christina. Okay. Excuse me. Okay. Do, 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 do. Gonna have some fun tonight making this book. And I will tell you, these quilts, if you quilt one of these and do not put binding on it, you can then cut it up and make bags out of them. And then make really beautiful quilted bags. There's so much you can do with one of these other than just making a quilt. Because really, what you're doing when a quilt top is something you've created a new fabric from already existing fabric. Once you get one of these done, you can put appliques on it, dress it up. Open sesame. There we go. As you see, just by taking the strips right off of the jelly roll, you're leaving it up to serendipity as to what fabrics are sewn together. And I have made a lot of these, and each one has its own unique beauty to it. If you have a large fabric stash, cut yourself 42 2.5 inch strips from selvage to selvage and make one. Or if you're going into a quilt shop or a fabric store, look at the pre-cut jelly rolls, and when you find a color, one with the colors in it that just speaks to you, that you really love, buy it, and that will make you a beautiful quilt top that you will cherish. Okay. Keeping on, keeping on. Now the next run after this, I won't have to do so much unfolding of fabric to line up the raw edges. I will tell you, the Cafe jelly rolls, the Cafe Facet jelly rolls, always make a beautiful roll because the prints are really bold and loud and colorful and happy colors, and they just really play well together. We're almost to the end of this run. I see the end coming up off the floor already. What? I've just now got my first bobbin alert. So let me cut my thread. I was wondering, oh my gosh, is that bobbin ever going to run out? Okay. I already got some pre-wound, so I wound 3 bobbins before we got started tonight, so I know I'd have enough. Here we go. This is step number 3. We're getting to the end of step 3. There's the end of it. Looky there. Woohoo. I'm going to move this camera back, reposition it again. There we go. Okay. Let's see here. Angle that just a little bit better. There we go. Here we go. Okay. Getting close to the end of this strip set here. Let's see. We have to trim it, and this has one little twist in it, so I'll get closer to the end. And like before, I'll just cut through the twist. Do a trim. See there? There's the twist in it. Twist is gone. Now we'll just finish that seam and trim off the edges nice. Nice and square. You can totally do this with a rotary cutter and a ruler if you're not comfortable doing it this way. It's all good. There's my new starting point for the next round. And now I have 4 strips sewn together. Yes, Sally, I am using my laser beam. I love that thing too. Now I'm going to bring it down from behind. So my first run of the long seam was 800 inches. This one was 400. And now the one I just finished was 400-inch long seam. Now this will be a 200-inch long seam. I've only got about 3 more runs and my quilt top will be complete. Literally. See, we started at 6. We've only been at it an hour and 10 minutes, everyone. How about that? Okay. The next one will go right here. And if I did that correct, will not have a twist on this next one. We'll see. When I finish this seam, I'll have 8 strips across my unit. And now we'll just get that one sewn. I get a sip of my coffee here. Okay. Once you get to this step where you're sewing, you'll end up with 8 across. You really start to get a feel for what your quilt top will look like when it's complete. So after this, only 2 more long seams, and this quilt top will be complete, everybody. We are actually going to make this in under 2 hours, an entire quilt top. using this method. I just think that's cool as heck. Look at that. Is that pretty? Woohoo. Just keep it on, keep it on, everyone. Almost to the end on this one. See how much faster it goes? Once you get that first long run done, that first big long seam, you're halfway there. There's no twist in this one. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to sew off all the way off the end here. And get the camera closer. Okay, so there, this is where it folds in half, that strip that I'm just sewing on. It's folded in half here. What I'm going to do, I'm going to finger press that. So there's a nice crease in it. I'm going to sew it off to the end, off of the end. I'll cut the thread. I'm going to grab my scissors. Okay. And what I'm going to do, here's a trick. Now you can go and take it and press it and use a rotary cutter if you want to. However, having that folded in half and this fold line finger pressed, I'm just going to take my scissors, check it out, and slip the tip right up under on the inside of that fold, and I'm going to snip it up to the seam line. Not through that seam that I just created, but just right up to it. Check it out. Right up to that seam line. Then when I open it up, guess what? Check it out. There it is. There's 8 strips wide. Woohoo. Nice and tidy. So this is the beginning of our next run right here. I'll just lower my presser foot on it to hold it in place. And then I'm going to bring that, just like before, I'm going to bring the excess down to my right side. What I'm doing, I'm keeping this edge right here in my hands, because then as I come down here, right here, as I bring that down, as long as I line this edge up with right up here, I won't have a twist in it. Two more seams and it will be complete. There we go. And an easy number to remember when you're making these, you'll have 32 rows of strips, 32. When I sew this together right here, that'll be 16. So that's how I know I've only got one more to go after this to finish this little quilt top. Okay. There's my two ends right there. Just making sure I line up these raw edges right here. That's all I'm having to line up. Notice I have not had to match one seam. That's another cool thing about this. If you like to piece a lot of quilt tops, do a complicated one and then do one of these in between to give yourself a break. I've also made these to use for a table cover. You don't even have to quilt it to use it like a tablecloth. Beautiful on your tables. There's a lot of pretty fun summer colors in this one. Well, Almost to the end. Then we'll have one more seam to go. We'll cut it apart and sew it together one more time like we've been doing. It'll be complete. You'll think of this. You could use these to make placemats with also. One of these would make a bunch of placemats. Here we go. Now I'm going to start making my folds. Bring it up here on this table. I'm going to make my folds. Turn it. I'm going to cut right underneath that big fold line I just made, all the way to the seam I just sewed down, I just created. Right there. Guess what, everybody? I'm going to open it up. Look at that beautifulness. Woohoo. You move my camera here. Check that out. Right there in my hand. One more run to go. This is 16 strips wide. Okay. Right here will be our starting for our next seam. Our starting point. Just going to bring all of this back down here. And this is the last seam for my quilt top, everyone. Literally, just about an hour and a half is all it has taken to create this quilt top out of one jelly roll of fabric. I always tell people you can actually piece this and quilt it and bind it, and only take yourself maybe, you could do it in a day. In 1 8-hour day of sewing, you could create this entire quilt top. It shifted on me, so I'm going to re-straighten that up. There we go. Okay. Give that another go. There we go. My last seam and my quilt top will be complete, everybody. It's always a good thing to have a quilt top finished. And it's pretty amazing to be able to do it in under 2 hours. And if I had stopped and pressed everything as I was doing it, yeah, it wouldn't be done in under 2 hours. And that's why when I'm making one like this, especially, I'll just wait and do all my pressing after it's done before I put it in the frame and quilt it. Almost down to the end already. My fingers get in there. There we go. Okay. And one more cutting that fold line apart, and it is complete. It will be complete. Just going to finger press that fold line down. There we go. Here we go, the last cut to finish this quilt top. Right up to that seam. There we go. Now when I open it up, there it is. One complete quilt top. Let me get it opened up and I'll pull the camera back so you can get a good look at it. There we go. There we go. Isn't it pretty? Colorful, summery, and it's Cafe. The size of the quilt, Sarah, will be approximately 54 by 64 inches. All done. It can vary 2 inches in either direction on the sides and the top or the bottom, but approximately 54 by 64. And that's all there is to it. Easy peasy. Just think of that over a small table in your home. A beautiful tablecloth. Okay. Move my camera back over here now. Woohoo. Oh, yes. So in behind me here, this is a huge window with this is the lace, and in behind it are the Victorian roll-ups on the house. This is like kind of like a mauve vinyl rolly blind with fringe on the bottom of it. Coffee time. Woohoo. An hour and a half, 90 minutes to make that quilt top, everyone. How about that? 90 minutes. Oh my gosh. So, like I said, just find a jelly roll of fabric that you fall in love with and make yourself a jelly roll quilt. It's fast, it's easy, it's beautiful, and it's something you'll cherish. Quilted, I can tell you, this is a wonderful size quilt to snuggle up in your recliner or rocking chair as you're watching TV. And these also make wonderful tote bags and handbags and stuff like that as well. I've even used these to make throw pillows with. They make beautiful throw pillows. So, everybody, that's what I have for you tonight. Next Friday night, we will be sewing our lunchbox quilts, just flowers, embroidery quilt top together. The videos will be released this coming week, and our grand finale for that series will be next Friday night. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Have a glorious, wonderful weekend, and I'll see you all next week. Bye, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in.